Very good to have you on. I think I read that you were pessimistic before yesterday's meeting. Do you feel more heartened now? And if so, why?
Well, I think the chances are a little bit better now after the yesterday's meeting between President Zelensky, President Trump, and meeting between European leaders and President Trump. So, but at the same time, I remain to be skeptical for a very simple reason, because to have ceasefire, I'm not even talking about peace, I'm talking about ceasefire. You need at least the least common denominator. You need to have a kind of minimum common ground between the parties, the warring parties. So, and we don't have, and there is common ground is not even on the horizon, because the interests of both parties are diametrically opposed. Ukraine wants to survive. It wants get reliable security guarantees of its survival as an independent nation. Whereas Putin, he's not interested in any kind of ceasefire. He's interested here. He's obsessed with only one goal: to subjugate Ukraine, to destroy Ukraine, and to turn it into part of his empire. This is it. And you might have paid attention to the recent statement by Foreign Minister Lavrov. He said that Russia is not doesn't care about territories of Ukraine. It cares about protection, as he put it, of Russians. But by that, Putin means that, according to him, Ukrainians and Russians are the same nation. So basically, it implies that Putin is not interested in territories of Ukraine. He wants to destroy Ukrainian nation. This is his goal, and that's why I remain to be skeptical about any prospects. We can reach a result only when we put maximum pressure upon Putin, without negotiations, by the way.
Well, and that's why some people are skeptical, aren't they, about a bilateral between Putin and Zelensky. You know, in Putin's view, it's like meeting some regional leader. Do you see that happening? I know there's a suggestion that President Putin is not in Russia, in fact, towards the end of August and the beginning of September. You know, Russians suggesting this might take place in later in September and not in the next 2 weeks, as we heard last night. But do you see that meeting ever taking place?
Well, I will try to make prediction. It's risky to make any predictions in politics, but I'll try and we'll check it later. My prediction that there will be no bilateral meeting between Putin and President Zelensky. Putin will say yes, but again, he will add absolutely unacceptable demands. He might come up with absolutely ludicrous ideas like holding elections in Ukraine during the war or something else. But I really doubt that there will be such a direct meeting or summit between Putin and President Zelensky, for a very simple reason, because Putin is afraid of Zelensky.
Well, if that doesn't happen, I mean, this all falls away, doesn't it? I mean, Trump will, you know, move on, will he, do you think, get bored with it, even though he's said, phoning Fox and Friends this morning, that he wants to see peace in Ukraine because he wants to go to heaven. He thinks this will help him.
To go to heaven? I don't know. I'm not God. It's difficult. But there are two options. The first option, which is positive for Ukraine, that President Trump will finally realize or acknowledge who is dealing with, I mean Putin, that it's absolutely impossible to strike a deal with him, that the only way out is to put pressure on Putin to finally follow through on his promise, President Trump's promise to implement sanctions, severe consequences, as he put it. This is the best kind of outcome. But there is a danger. He might use this as a pretext to blame Ukraine for allegedly not wanting peace, and then just to walk away. And it would be the most dangerous situation, not only for Ukraine, for the security of the whole Europe and global security. Which option Trump will take, it's hard to say, but it depends on us. It depends on European leaders. That's why we should continue to work with President Trump and try with our American friends, of course, and try to persuade him to be on the right side of history and to take the right decision.
While you're talking, we're watching those pictures of Alaska. You've already lamented the fact that the prospect of a ceasefire seemed to fall away after that summit. But what has joined the table is the involvement of America in security guarantees. What have we learnt about that? Will they take a coordinating role, that there would be no American troops on the ground? US air support is still an option, but the heavy lifting would clearly be done by European nations as long as they're not badged as NATO. Does any of that sound workable to you?
Well, first of all, it's a great and honestly unexpected news for me, and I welcome this news. It's a huge shift in President Trump's stance on Ukraine, that he decided that he's not like inclined in the direction of isolationism. He is in favor of engaging with our European allies and partners in terms of security guarantees. The US will take part in creating these security guarantees. It's a great news, it's a great progress, but we don't have details. Only yesterday, President Trump was not ruling out American troops in Ukraine, deployment of American troops in Ukraine. Today, he has ruled out this, so he's changing. And that's why it's a good news and it's a bad news. So he might change his opinion. That's why, again, we should work and try to persuade him to move in the right direction.
There's so many other things to discuss, so many details to hone down, but we really appreciate your time for now. No doubt we can talk again. Oleksandr Merezhko, Ukrainian MP, thank you so much for your time.